Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Vietnam Stock Market Opportunities. It's an honor to be with you today. And if you want to open a legal trading account, please contact us with the email Vietnamstockmarket.entry at gmail.com. Telegram Vietnamstockmarket.entry with the phone number is 8491-432-6556. Or you can also scan the two QR codes on the screen so that we can support you. And the other way to contact with us is please follow and subscribe channel name Areca Capital Channel. The owner of this YouTube channel is Areca Nguyen. She is a personal financial advisor and a Viet Capital Securities Stockbroker Manager. You can contact her with the email homejungwin@vcsc.com.vn with the phone number is 8491-432-6556. And we always welcome you to our office on the 11th floor, 109 June Street, Hoàn Kiếm District, Hanoi, Vietnam. And today we're going to share with you about the Vietnam strategy 2023. Let's come to the industrial parts. Structural growth to continue, but global economic headwinds to impact short-term outlook. Summary. We remain bullish on the long-term outlook of the industrial real estate sector in Vietnam. We expect industrial park developers to benefit from the ongoing structural shifts of global manufacturers relocating to Vietnam. Vietnam is well positioned to attract FDI inflows over the medium and long term thanks to the country's intact competitive advantages. Initially driven by its low-cost advantages, Vietnam has subsequently become a popular destination for global manufacturers to shift and expand their production out of China to another country in the region in order to diversify their production chain. We believe Vietnam's low-cost advantages will continue over the short and medium term. Additionally, the country is making efforts to evolve in the global manufacturing supply chain, which will be a long-term driver for industrial parkland demand. To capture solid future demand for industrial parks land in Vietnam, the government has accelerated the approval process for new industrial parks land in 2021 to 2022. However, due to timing differences in the approvals for new industrial parks land, we believe industrial parks land availability will experience a stronger improvement in northern industrial hubs than in southern industrial areas in 2023. We believe industrial parks developers that have already secured large, cleared industrial land areas, especially in southern industrial provinces, will be major beneficiaries as we will capture demand amidst currently limited industrial parks land availability. Moreover, we prefer industrial parks developers with acceptable leverage positions that will not be relatively hit by rising interest rates. Our top picks for the industrial real estate sector are IDC, PHR, LHG. These industrial parks developers should leverage their existing land banks to capture the currently favorable market conditions, as well as their healthy financial positions to prepare for their next growth phases over the long term. Let's see on the screen, and I will share with you the industrial post key data and summary valuations. Solid long-term demand growth prospects as Vietnam's competitive advantages remain intact. Vietnam's competitive advantages to attract FDI inflows remain intact. Initially driven by low-cost advantages, Vietnam has evolved to become a destination for global manufacturers to expand their production to a country with proximity to China and or shipped production out of China in order to diversify their production chain. Moreover, the Vietnamese government has encouraged FDI, which is evidenced by Vietnam having the highest number of FTAs among Southeast Asian countries, and the country's growing focus on infrastructure development and consistent policies to support manufacturing activities. 2021 total cost of manufacturing workers in Asia USD per year. Vietnam's low-cost advantage is expected to continue. According to a survey conducted by the Japan External Trade Organization in 2022 that included responses by Japanese companies with investments outside Japan, which increases were the top consideration for management in the manufacturing sector across different countries. However, Vietnam's wage increase forecast remain at the medium level compared to other peer countries in 2022, and the momentum of wage increases in Vietnam has been weaker than other countries such as India and Indonesia compared to the relatively low base of Vietnam's worker wages. Ongoing structural shifts imply solid growth headroom for industrial land demand. Vietnam is a destination for global manufacturers, and structural shifts have been steady over the past decade, evidenced by the country's strong amount of restricted FDI inflows as well as FDI disbursements. In northern Vietnam, the increased number of high-tech manufacturing factories relocating to Vietnam is an indicator of the ongoing structural shift of global manufacturers moving to the country. Notably, the number of suppliers of Apple and Samsung in Vietnam jumped in 2016 to 2021, where there were 26 Apple suppliers. 14% of Apple's total suppliers in Vietnam in 2021 compares to 5% of Apple's total suppliers in 2016. Samsung had 27 suppliers, 26% of Samsung's total suppliers in Vietnam in 2021. We believe there is ample headroom for Vietnam to attract more suppliers and manufacturing lines to the country thanks to the improved integration of suppliers and ongoing low-cost competitive advantages. Number of Apple's official suppliers in 2016. Number of Apple's official suppliers in 2021. Vietnam to evolve in the global manufacturing value chain, which is a long-term driver for industrial parks land demand. Mainly driven by its low-cost advantages, Vietnam currently serves as an assembly hub for global high-tech manufacturers such as Samsung and Apple. As an assembly hub, the late stage of the manufacturing value chain, Vietnam's domestic value added in its exports remains low, according to data provided by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. However, we see potential improvements in localization and technology transfer as research and development centers have recently been established in Vietnam. If Vietnam's manufacturing sector successfully moves up the global high-tech value chain, we believe this will be a strong long-term driver for the industrial parks sector as the country will attract more suppliers and high-tech manufacturing lines. One example of participation of Vietnam's companies in the global manufacturing chain is the increase of Vietnamese suppliers for Toyota. Domestic value added in foreign exports in 2012 to 2018 of Vietnam, China, Asia, and the world. Localization of Vietnamese companies in Vietnam Toyota's automobile value chain number of suppliers in 2021. New regulations on industrial parks and economic zone management reiterate regulatory consistency and help to attract FDI. The global release decrease 35/2022 and DCP decrease 35 on regulating on industrial park and economic zone management, which became effective on the 15th July 2022, replacing the prevailing Decree 82 2018 and DCP Decree 82. In our view, there are some positive changes in regulations that can shorten the timeline of industrial parks development in future, such as removing industrial parks establishment procedures and giving provincial Vietnam's committees more authorization to approve location, area, and name changes of industrial parks projects. Moreover, Decree 35 provides more comprehensive and clearer regulations on industrial parks and economic zone development planning, as well as conditions, procedures, processes, and evaluation of the conversion of industrial parks projects to urban and commercial areas. Differences between Decree 35 and Decree 82 per our observations. Differences. 1. Conditions for including an industrial park projects into the provincial lists of projects, restricting to develop industrial parks projects in urban area type 1, nearly special use and protective forests, and requiring worker housing area equivalent to a minimum 2% of industrial park site area in provinces, cities. Article 4.4, no specific regulations. 2. Removing industrial parks establishment procedures. Article 6.6, Article 4 and 13. 3. More comprehensive regulations on planning of industrial parks and economic zone developments. Decree 35, Article 7. Decree 82, Article 3 to 7. 4. Giving provincial people's committees more authorization to approve location, area, and name changes of industrial park projects. Decree 35, Article 7.7 and 12. Decree 82, no specific regulations. 5. Supplement regulations that industrial parks developments uh, parks projects have a total site area above 500 hectares with total investment cost below 2 billion US dollar will be divided into several phases of development, each phase with no more than 500 hectares. Decree 35, Article 9.2 to 9.3, Decree 82, no specific regulations. 6. Require a minimum of 5 hectares or 3% of total leasable area for SMEs, supporting industrial companies, innovative companies, and entities receiving incentive policies. Article 9.4, no specific regulations. 7. Supplement regulations on conditions, procedures, processes, and evaluation of the conversion of industrial parks projects to urban and commercial areas. Decree 35, Article 13, Decree 82, no specific regulations. Approvals for new industrial park supply accelerate supply to improve in 2023-2024. Government approval for new industrial parks lands accelerates, which will improve the industrial parks land supply in 2023-2024. Government approval for new establishments, expansion and amendment of industrial parks show solid progress starting in early 2021 after a sluggish period. According to the Ministry of Planning and Investment, the total industrial park site area of Vietnam's established industrial parks had CAGR of only 2.4% in 2012 to 2020. According to the government portal, the total site area of new industrial parks receiving investment approval from the Prime Minister was 7,237 hectares. In 2021, more than 7.4% compares to the end 2020 total industrial park site area of Vietnam's established industrial parks, and 5,369 hectares. In 2022, more than 5.1% compares to the estimated total industrial park site area as of end 2021. We believe the slow growth in 2012 to 2020 was mainly due to the conservative approach of the government as well as provincial master plans that did not meet the fast growth of the industrial park sector. Meanwhile, approvals accelerated in 2021 to 2022 due to a limited supply of industrial parkland and high occupancy rates in some key industrial areas. Total industrial park site area of industrial parks established in Vietnam 2012 to 2020. Locations outside of established industrial hubs have been included in the approval industrial parks list. In 2020 to 2022, we estimate that 53% of new total site industrial park area was a key industrial provinces, which we define as Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi, as well as Tier 1 provinces with proximity to Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. Some key industrial provinces still ranked the top provinces receiving approval for new industrial land area, including Long An province in southern Vietnam with 2,015 hectares. 14% of new industrial parks area receiving an investment approval from the government in 2020 to 2022, and Bắc Ninh province and Hải Phòng in northern Vietnam with 1,466 hectares and 1,162 hectares, equivalent to 10% and 8.1% of new industrial parks area in receiving investment approval from the government in 2020 to 2022, respectively. There will be new industrial parks projects in Tier 2 provinces, the Mekong Delta and Center regions in future, which are undeveloped industrial clusters, implying that developers are seeking investment opportunities in areas further from current industrial hubs to capture improving infrastructure connectivity and strong potential demand over the long term. Government approval for expansion and new establishment of industrial park area in 2021-2022. Supply landscape differs for northern and southern industrial hubs in 2023. Larger supply of industrial land in the north and compared to the south in 2023. In 2021, approval for new industrial parkland supply in 2021 was mainly in the northern industrial hubs, whereas key industrial southern provinces, only including Tier 1 provinces, had 245 hectares, or 3.4% of the total area, receiving investment approval from the government. Although key southern industrial provinces obtained additional investment approval for new industrial parks projects from the government in 2022, amounting to 1,770 hectares in a year. We believe it will take industrial parks developers at least one more year from the investment approval date to supply new industrial parkland to the markets, as they are required to process additional procedures to proceed with land clearance, receive land allocation, determine land rental fees, and finish basis infrastructure construction. Short-term shortage to occur in southern Vietnam due to high occupancy rate. According to commercial real estate services firm Cushman and Wakefield at Q3 2022, the occupancy rate of industrial land in Vietnam's southern industrial hubs was 88%, while industrial land in the northern industrial hubs was 80% occupied. We therefore believe there is shortage of industrial parkland in key industrial southern provinces in 2023. Meanwhile, the situation in northern industrial provinces will differ thanks to the new industrial park supply of projects that were approved in 2021. Government approval for expansion and new establishment of industrial park area in 2021-2022. Occupancy rates of industrial land, ready-built factories, and ready-built warehouses as of Q3 2022 in southern and northern key economic regions. Natural rubber land conversion to be a key source for industrial parkland in Vietnam, South and industrial provinces such as Bình Dương and Đồng Nai. According to the Bình Dương Industrial Zones Authority, seven developers have proposed 17 expansion and new industrial parks projects with the total site area of around 14,800 hectares for the 2021 to 2030 period. We estimate that 38% of the total site area will be converted from natural rubber land. While data for Đồng Nai province is not available, we believe it will experience a similar trend to Bình Dương province as Vietnam Rubber Group and its subsidiaries have proposed impressive plans for rubber land conversion to industrial parks development with 15,000 to 23,000 hectares for the 2021 to 2025 period, which is mainly in Bình Dương, Đồng Nai, Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu, and Bình Phước provinces. Additionally, natural rubber land conversion to industrial parks development has an advantage of shortening the land clearance phase, which is one of the most time-consuming phase of industrial park development. Nevertheless, a majority of future industrial park land conversion from rubber land is awaiting to be included into provincial master plans for 2021 to 2025. Illustration of land clearance process for industrial park development on rubber land rights and family land left. Typical approval process for an industrial park project development. Yeah, and that brings me to the end of my presentation today. And if you want to open a legal trading account, don't hesitate to contact with us with the information on the screen so that we can assist you. So thank you for your listening and see you next time. Have a nice day.